All right, here's 8-7, day 1. We're going to look at complex numbers in what we call trig form, or a geometric representation. Basically, all we're really after is I want you to keep practicing with kind of the same form as polar coordinates. We're just going to kind of do it in a slightly different way. This way would be the context of complex numbers. Been a while. We haven't talked about them since functions. Right? The whole I component of a complex number would come up if you end up taking the square root of a negative number. Okay? Now, if you have this whole coordinate system with the reals and the imaginaries, that is a Argand diagram, okay? Basically, A is like X, B is like Y. Treat it that way. So now I'm going to go graph these numbers down below, like 2 minus 3i. For the real component, I go over 2. And then I go down 3. And that's where I would find that complex number. 0 plus 4i would be right there. There's B. Negative 1, 1. Would go there. Let's see, 3, 0i would be right here. And the last one, 3 to the left. And 5 down is where you would find that. So really, this is the most important thing. A is like X, B is like Y, right? Make sure your axes are labeled that, the horizontal axis are the real numbers. The vertical is the imaginary, okay? And it's kind of like just plotting coordinate points, right? And that would be what we would call a whole system for complex numbers, okay? Basically, what we are going to do is, how would you represent that complex number? Yeah, I'm going to go with C. As R and theta instead of A and B. Okay? That's what we mean by a geometric representation of that number. Okay? You're talking about the same number, you're just expressing it in a slightly different way. So first thing, let's go over if we have the number in either, see, right below there is if you have the number in your regular A plus BI form, okay, and you wanted to convert it. That is what is going on right here. Okay, so you would have A and B basically like this form, and you want to get switched to R and to theta. That's how it is. Now, if you compare that to how we converted rectangular coordinates to polar coordinates, and you compared it to basically your notes from 8.6, especially 8.6 day 1, the process should look incredibly similar because it's really about the same, okay? If we were to go the other way, A is the same as R cosine theta. B is R sine theta. okay? Now under the example here, this is how we write a complex number in polar form, okay? 2 cis 30. Okay, here's where that's coming from. It's an abbreviation. If we were to write out the complex number in this form, we would have 2, because that's r, cosine 30 plus 2 sine 30, and that part goes with I. If we were to evaluate that number right there, it would simplify to what we would call A. That would be B, okay? So really all you need to express in the number, to do it in kind of a more of a succinct way, is r and theta. And you can tell in this form, okay, r is 2, theta is 30, right? So the CIS stands for cosine, imaginary, and sine, okay? It's a shorthand way of writing all that, okay? You'll see the shorthand way of writing it far more often than you do the long way of writing it out. All right, first things first, I'm going to graph this. -1 minus 2i would be like right there. I'll do it in, after we convert it to polar coordinates. I'll graph it again, right? You should be expecting, if we do it right, that on the polar graph that we see that it's in the exact same spot. Okay, that's kind of what we're expecting to happen here. So when I look at that number as it's written in a plus bi form, I notice a is -1, b is -2. And that's really all I need to convert it. I'll go get r first. And I've got it. It's the square root of 5, okay, which if you wanted kind of an approximation, that's roughly 2.2. I'll just leave it as the square root of 5, but I'm thinking more when I graph it to make sure that I've, on the polar graph, having it as 2.2 is going to be a little bit more helpful than the square root of 5. The other piece we need is theta. That would be b over a, or -2 over -1. So we take the inverse tangent of 2. This is where thinking about the graphs can be really helpful, because it's very, very tempting to just say that that's my answer. But I shouldn't do that. Should not do that, right? You can see, if I think about it in terms of like quadrants, when I graph -1 minus 2i, I'm down in 63 degrees, roughly. We have a little decimal. We'll put you in 1. Okay, I need to be in 3 instead of 1. We've seen this happen before. It's not a huge deal. Okay, final answer would be square root 5 CIS, right? Cosine, imaginary sine, 243.43. It's the same complex number as -1 minus 2i expressed in a different form. Okay, very, very similar to what we did in the previous section with polar coordinates. So now if I go to my graph, I'm going to zoom in on that. .2 is like just past 2. There's 90, 180, and I'm going to stop right about there. If I zoom that out and compare it to the one before, right? I kind of mentioned this was coming. This number and this number are the same thing, so notice those two numbers. If you were to kind of like overlay those two graphs, you would see they're in the exact same spot. All right, we'll do one more, but we'll go the opposite way here. We'll graph it in both again. Here's that shorthand form, which really is just telling me two things. R is 2, theta is 135. That's roughly where we are, right on the second circle, 135 degrees. Okay? Here it's going to be helpful to write it out in its longer form to convert it, because really what's going on is we have 2 cosine of 135. That's what we would call A. 2 sine of 135. Don't forget to tag the I at the end. That's what we would call B. Cosine of 135 is negative square root 2 over 2. Sine of 135 is positive square root 2 over 2. Bunch of 2's cancel, and I'll have negative square root 2 plus square root 2i. That's A, that's B. So we went from starting in polar, converted it to rectangular, okay, in that BI form, which is really previously, we haven't worked a ton with complex numbers. It's always been in rectangular form. This whole idea that you could write it in this new form of polar coordinates, kind of new to us, but again, it's kind of a different way of seeing the same thing with the polar coordinates that we did previously. It's all about r and theta. And you can kind of see if you compare the way we do it here to what we did in the previous section. We've got the whole like imaginary thing going on with sine, but it's kind of the same process to convert back and forth. Now, if I wanted to go approximation, this is basically negative 1.4 plus 1.4i. So about 1.5 to the left, about 1.5 up. There it is. Yet again, if you compare where that number was and that number, right about in the same spot, just like we expected, okay? That is all for day one, where we're really headed for the rest of section 7 and the rest of the chapter is to do some operations with complex numbers in this polar coordinate form, like add, subtract, multiply, that type of thing. I think where we're going next is multiplying. I can't actually remember if we add or subtract, but we'll dive in like how you would take numbers in this form and multiply them.